Netflix's popular historical drama The Crown has captivated viewers. However, many viewers may be curious as to how much of the glitzy show is based on reality. Some aspects of the series are entirely made up or exaggerated for dramatic effect, but others, such as the Dukes and the Duchess, are true. Without further ado, here are some stories of the hit TV show which are completely false. Churchill's assistant Benicia Scott and her sudden death. After reading Churchill's autobiography, his youthful and enthusiastic secretary Benicia Scott seemed to develop feelings for the legendary politician. This occurs in the first half of the series, while episodes 4 greatest focus on Scott led you to believe that she and Churchill were going to start a passionate relationship. It is abruptly ended when Scott is struck and killed by a bus during the Great Smug of 1952. Scott's passing finally prompts Churchill to reconsider his stance on the smug and mobilize an effort to save London. However, according to Radio Times, Benicia Scott never existed, despite the fact that her participation in the series causes Churchill to make a significant change in his life. In short, Benicia Scott and her supposed fling with Winston Churchill were entirely false. The Great Smag of London. Although the Great Smag is a major plot point in The Crown, the fear it depicts isn't entirely genuine. The Great Smag was more intense and pervasive than earlier fogs, but because Londoners were accustomed to poor air quality, its long-term consequences weren't felt for several weeks or even years. Nevertheless, even if it didn't result in a full-fledged panic or nearly a political crisis, the Great Smog had disastrous effects, including poor visibility, widespread disease, and fatalities. The Great Smog also inspired environmental laws, especially the Clean Air Acts of 1956 and 1968, which resulted in a decrease in air pollution. It is estimated that the Great Smog caused somewhere between 6,000 and 12,000 deaths. In short, the Great Smog did not cause any massive hysteria. Prince Philip did not refuse to knee in front of Queen Elizabeth. While Philip did defy the royal tradition on matters pertaining to his family, including his children's last names and their schooling, he would obviously recognize the significance of Elizabeth's coronation and would have objected to the breach of protocol as a royal himself. Regarding the dramatic scene in The Crown, expert Christopher Wilson said that, "I doubt Prince Philip ever spoke those words to his wife because he came from a royal house which had stolen so much of its ritual and protocol from the British royal family. He was willing to comply with expectations because he was fully aware of what was expected to him in public." Thus, it is entirely untrue that Prince Philip refused to kneel in front of Queen Elizabeth. There was no feud between Queen Elizabeth and Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. These two strong women assumed traditionally male responsibilities. It is true that they secretly disagreed on matters of national policy and may have also differed in personality. However, it seems improbable that the two ever engaged in open conflict. The Crown did go a little too far in setting them up against one another, just like Margaret Thatcher's, Britain's first female prime minister, claimed that the media at the time was likely to do. In Thatcher's memoirs, The Downing Street Years, she stated that, "I always found the Queen's approach toward the business of government entirely accurate, notwithstanding the praise and ability to resist the urge to insinuate disagreements between the palace and the Downing Street." Of course, under the circumstances, stories of clashes between two powerful women were just too good not to make up. Thatchers, however, loathed visiting the Queen's Balmoral residence in the country and frequently showed their unprepared without willies for the mud. Queen Elizabeth wanted Princess Margaret to marry Peter Townsend. Princess Margaret is presented with an impossible choice in the first season of The Crown: either marry Townsend and give up her royal position, including her title and stipend, or refuse to marry him and preserve her place. This was due to a 200-year-old law that stated that Margaret needed the monarch or the parliament's consent to marry. For the royal family, divorce was frowned upon. And in the program, the Queen ultimately declines to give her ransom to Townsend's divorce. But according to documents made public in 2004, the Queen and Prime Minister Sir Anthony Eden were preparing a scheme that would allow Margaret to wed Townsend while maintaining her status, but only if she gave up her claim to succeed to the throne. Although Margaret was aware that she could have married Townsend, she refused to wed him for whatever reason, stating, "I have been aware that subject to renouncing my rights of succession, it could have been possible for the contract a civil marriage, but mindful of the Church's teaching that Christian marriage is indissoluble, and conscious of my duty to the Commonwealth, I have resolved to put these considerations before any others." Prince Philip was not obsessed with the moon landing. There is no proof that Prince Philip experienced a midlife crisis after meeting Neil Armstrong and the other members of the Moon team, as depicted in The Crown's third season, although they did visit Buckingham Palace following the moon landing in 1969. It's likely that Philip's supposed midlife crisis was portrayed to make him appear unfulfilled in comparison to his more powerful wife, Queen Elizabeth. The truth is, even though Prince Philip left his naval career after marrying Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip actually had a busy schedule throughout the Queen's reign. He attended numerous public engagements, Commonwealth tours, philanthropy, and the administration of royal properties. As the Crown focused on Philip's supposed challenges and self-doubt rather than his busy stay as the Queen's husband. The Queen was not unable to cry. In the third season of The Crown, the Queen supposedly told the Prime Minister that she is incapable of crying, even under difficult circumstances, such as the birth of her children or the passing of her grandmother. She supposedly stated to him that, "I've known there's something wrong with me for a while." However, this is completely false. The truth is, the Queen has publicly wept during her reign. As an example, during the decommissions of Royal Yacht Britannia in 1997, the Queen was seen shedding a tear because she enjoyed many happy moments in the said yacht. Further, she was also seen crying during the 2002 Remembrance Day at the 2016 Memorial for the Fallen Soldiers of Britain. The Queen did not fake her emotion when visiting the mining disaster site at Aberfan. The Queen's alleged attempt to fake tears on a visit to Aberfan, the site of the real-life Welsh mining tragedy in 1966, where 116 children and 200 adults were murdered by avalanche of mine debris, brings up her inability to cry. In the show, she told the Prime Minister that she wiped a bone-dry eye and by some miracle no one noticed. However, this is untrue, according to numerous witnesses and those who knew her. According to Jeffrey Edwards, a survivor of the disaster, Queen Elizabeth was visibly crying during her visit to Aberfan in 1966 when she accepted flowers from one of surviving children. In 2016, the Queen even stated on the disaster's 50th anniversary that "I will remember my own visit with Prince Philip after the disaster," and the pussy eye was given by a young girl, which bore the heartbreaking inscription, "From the remaining children of Aberfan." However, what's true in The Crown is that Prince Philip visited Aberfan right away after the disaster, unlike the Queen. According to reports, she did not want to cause distraction from the rescue efforts in Aberfan. These inaccuracies clearly show that, even though The Crown is based on the lives of the real family, it's actually portrayed fake stories to stimulate the popularity of the show. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please help us make this viral by hitting the like, subscribe, and channel notifications buttons. Also, click the image on the right side of the screen to watch more videos about the Queen. Thank you so much and see you again.